Good morning. Let's give it another try. A couple who are both in their 90s are having problems remembering things. After they get a checkup, the doctor tells them that they're physically okay, but they might want to start writing things down to help them remember. Later that night, while watching TV, the old man gets up from his chair. His wife asks, "Where are you going?" "To the kitchen," he replies. "Will you get me a bowl of ice cream?" "Sure." "Don't you think you should write it down so you can remember it?" she asks. "No, I can remember it." "Well, I'd like some strawberries and whipped cream on top too. You'd better write it down because you know you'll forget it." Irritated, he says, "I don't need to write it down. I can remember it. Ice cream with strawberries and whipped cream. I got it, for goodness sake." After about 20 minutes, the old man returns from the kitchen and hands his wife a plate of bacon and eggs. She stares at the plate for a moment and then says, "Where's the toast?" Lawyers should never ask a Mississippi grandmother a question if they aren't prepared for the answer. In a trial, a small-town prosecuting attorney calls his first witness, a grandmotherly woman, to the stand. He approaches her and asks, "Mrs. Jones, do you know me?" She responds, "Why, I do know you, Mr. Williams. I've known you since you were a boy, and frankly, you've been a big disappointment. You lie, you cheat on your wife, and you talk about folks behind their backs. You think you're a big shot, but you never amounted to anything more than a 2-bit paper pusher. Yes, I know you." Stunned, the prosecutor points across the room and asks, "Mrs. Jones, do you know the defense attorney?" She replies, "Why, yes, I've known Mr. Bradley since he was a youngster, too. He's lazy, bigoted, and he has a drinking problem. His law practice is one of the worst in the state, not to mention he also cheats on his wife. Yes, I know him." The judge quickly calls both counselors to approach the bench. In a very quiet voice, the judge says, "If either of you idiots asks her if she knows me, I'll send you to the electric chair." A woman went to the doctor's office where she was seen by one of the younger doctors. After about 4 minutes in the examination room, she burst out, screaming as she ran down the hall. An older doctor stopped her and asked what the problem was, and she told him her story. After listening, he had her sit down and relax in another room. The older doctor marched down the hallway to the back where the young doctor was writing on his clipboard. "What's the matter with you?" the older doctor demanded. "Mrs. Reed is 62 years old, has 4 grown children and 7 grandchildren, and you told her she was pregnant?" The younger doctor continued writing and said, "Does she still have the hiccups?" After his annual checkup, Bob is shocked to learn that he has somehow contracted a rare disease and has only 12 hours to live. Arriving home in utter despair, he tells his wife the terrible news and begins to cry. Overcome with grief, Helen hugs him and says, "Honey, I'm going to give you a night you'll never forget." Whereupon they go to bed early and make passionate love with an ardor they haven't felt in years. When they're done, Bob turns to his wife and says, "Honey, that was wonderful, the best we've ever had. Can we do it again?" This time it's even more passionate. Later, as Helen is about to doze off, Bob gives her a nudge and says, "Honey, come on. How about one more time?" And she answers, "That's easy for you to say. You don't have to get up in the morning." Goodbye.